Welcome to Got Invention Radio. I'm your host, Brian Freed, and tonight our guest is Colette Fairchild. She's the Tradeshow Director of the Total Pet Expo. Welcome to the show, Colette.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, so Inventors, we always talk about getting into your industry, and the way to really understand it, what better way is to go to a trade show. And Colette actually runs the Total Pet Expo. So specifically, if you have a pet invention, this is a great show. No matter what type of invention you have, though, Colette is going to help us and give us some tips on when we should exhibit in a trade show, what we should do when we're actually at the trade show exhibiting, and how to help with post-show follow-up tips. So, Colette, really appreciate you being on our show. Can you give us a little bit of information about you and your background?
Sure. Well, I've been in the industry for longer than I'd actually like to admit to say, but I've been in it close to 30 years, starting with working in pet stores, and then got a degree in public relations, and began working for H.H. Backer in the 80s. I worked for them for a short period of time and did some other type of meeting planning shortly thereafter, but wound up coming back to the pet industry and working for H.H. Backer for the past 14 years because I really did miss the industry. It's a great industry. I absolutely love it. So I'm back running two shows, the show in Chicago, which is Total Pet Expo Fall, which is in September, and also a show in Atlantic City, which is biennial, and our next show there is April 9th through 11th. The Chicago show has been going for 47 years, and our show in Atlantic City is going to be celebrating our 25th year. So we're very excited to be celebrating 25 years in Atlantic City, and just recently moved our show from an October time frame in Chicago to September to allow a little bit more time for those buyers coming in for Christmas buying. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a synopsis of me and the shows.
Fantastic. Tell us about what type of, when we say pet, is it dogs and cats? Tell us a little bit more about what actually happens at this Total Pet Expo.
Dog and cat primarily are your major categories, but there's also bird, small animal, aquatic. Anything related to keeping pets, we have at the Backer Total Pet Expos. But primarily dog and cat is the biggest category.
Okay. And how many people would you say attend the expo on average? How many buyers come?
But because it's a trade show, you do have to be qualified if you're coming to attend to buy products. So it's a select marketplace. And our Chicago show draws about 6,500 qualified buyers, and our Atlantic City show probably between 5,000 and 5,500, I would estimate.
Okay. Now, do you have any pets?
Of course. Of course. I have a couple of fish tanks and a dog. I've had a cat, and I wouldn't be without a pet. There's no way I would be.
Well, my family here is a bunch of pet lovers also, and my daughter, we have a Cocker Spaniel and a Golden Retriever. My daughter has actually come up with two pet inventions, and we're in the middle of potentially licensing one, and we just made a commercial for another one. So we hope to.
Wow, that's great.
We hope to be attending. She's 11 years old, and she came up with two great products. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me. I mean, I've been at this for 30 years, and every year the number of new products, new inventions that come out, I'm just amazed at the creativity and what people come up with and how they market it, which is key to their success. Really, is you can have a great idea, but you have to have the marketing savvy as well.
For sure, and like we said when we first started, getting into your industry. Trade shows, trade show magazines. Look, in each industry that me as an inventor particularly get into, whether it's when I just started off, I needed to learn about rubbers and plastics and that type of material. So when I spoke to a prototype or a manufacturer, I knew what I was speaking about. The housewares industry, the hardware industry. Look, I get this magazine called Pet Age, and your advertisement for your Pet Expo is in here. And, just understanding what's going on in your industry from the outside in really makes a difference. And then actually going to a trade show, it's not that you have to go all over the place and knock on doors and this is the place. This is like being in one neighborhood and everybody's right there in the same industry with the same purpose. And that's a great opportunity to make some business happen.
Definitely. And the pet industry is very much like a family. So if you were to go to a trade show and network as much as you could with the other manufacturers or attendees or manufacturers rep or whoever really are going to be there, you're going to find that you're going to get a lot of really great advice. And that's one thing that I would recommend is asking a lot of questions, networking with your peers, and people are more than willing to share their experiences, both good and bad.
Thank you, Colette. That makes total sense. Now, let's talk, and we're going to talk specifically about exhibiting. So, Colette, I have this new idea. I have a raw prototype. Should I be at your trade show?
Well, what I would suggest first is before you rush into anything, just to make sure that you do your homework first. I would visit other trade shows, whether it be our shows or other industry shows. Check out as many as you can possibly do and afford, and really kind of get the lay of the land and see. And you mentioned previously about the trade publications. Get your hands on as many trade publications as you can and learn as much about the industry, who your competition might be, who some of the leading manufacturers' reps might be, who might be able to give you some really good advice. There's also a lot of online groups that you can post information or ask questions. I see more and more of this all the time. We post on probably anywhere between 20 and 30 social media sites, and the communication and interaction on those sites, you wouldn't believe how much information. So if you do your homework first, find out what you can, go to the shows, and you can always get a tour. If you're not ready to exhibit, you can always call the show manager, show organizer, and say, hey, what's your procedure for coming to the show? I don't know if I'm quite ready or not. Is there some way you can show me around? Is there a fee? How does it work? And show managers will always be more than helpful to show you what the procedure is and tour you around.
So you said with yours, you need to either be with that trade show manager or to exhibit, or be within the industry at this point to enter your show. When you were talking about sure.
Sorry, because it's a trade show, you would have to show that what your affiliation is with the industry. And once you're able to show that, typically what most shows do, not just ours but others, they do charge a fee if you're a non-exhibiting manufacturer and you're just coming in to look. In our case, we charge $250, $200 of which is refundable to you should you decide to exhibit in a future show. And that gives you a chance to kind of look around, maybe talk to a few manufacturers, get some advice, and kind of get the lay of the land. So that's what I would suggest for starters. Mm-hmm. And then if you do decide to exhibit, try to pick the show manager's brain as much as possible. They're more than willing to help. Have a specific set of questions. What are my costs going to be? What kind of advice could you give me as someone who is new? Do you have a special section for new exhibitors? Is there a new product area where I can get additional exposure? Are there sponsorships available, and what are the costs? So really you should have I would say anywhere between a 15 to 20-minute conversation with whoever you can speak to or the show manager when you call in. And they'll be more than willing to help you out in any way they can. That's
excellent. Those, not only are you giving us advice on speaking to a trade show manager, but those questions, we really appreciate that. Those are really good tips for us to jot down and make reference to. You mentioned also to go to other trade shows. There's other trade shows to get an idea if you can't specifically make one of your shows or get involved with the trade show manager to tour you, to go to some of the other trade shows that do accept guests, or you go to, let's say, like the Javits Center, the auto show that you pay admission to, and there's exhibitors there, and not only are there buyers, there's general public. There's many different types of trade shows, but start to get your feet wet, go to them and see what people are doing, how people are setting things up, how they're approaching you, interacting. That was a good point to really get an idea of not only your type of show, but other types of shows that are out there.
Right, and it kind of depends on where you are geographically, too. I mean, there's so many different shows that you can go to. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the pet industry, but you'll get kind of a general feel for what a show's protocol is. Makes sense. By attending whatever you can.
Perfect. So, Colette, we were talking earlier. So let's say I tour with the trade show manager, or I'm ready to get started and I want to exhibit. When I say ready to get started, have you seen people exhibit at a show like yours with a raw, crude prototype, or with a sketch that's on a notepad that's displayed at their expo looking for a potential licensee? Or is it where you would prefer, or you would rather see, or the success of inventors, new product people, new businesses with a finished product ready to take orders with an order form?
I would say you really would need to have a finished product ready to take orders, because in our particular show, and the research that we've done and research that we've seen in the exhibition industry, the number one reason people attend shows is to see new products and to place orders. For us, we're very much of an order writing show, especially for our fall show, because people are looking to buy products for Christmas. And they want to place those orders, and they want to get those orders in at Christmas. And if you're not ready for that, then they're just going to move on to the next booth. It's a very high energy, very colorful show in terms of the products that are out there. When I say colorful, I mean they're looking for really different products and new cool packaging that's out there. So if you just have if you're not ready, you're not going to do well. So, and I always tell people to wait a year. If you're not ready to really do a good job, then wait and do it the following year. Don't try to rush it if you're not ready.
Okay. Well, you have 2 expos through each year, so if you don't make the spring, you make the fall.
Exactly. And we're more than willing to, on our end, give advice as to who to talk to if you need more information on the industry, or if you need experts like manufacturers reps. We have a number of manufacturers reps that we recommend, and how to get started and working with them and taking a look at the product and really giving you a true, frank assessment if it's going to fly or if it's not going to fly.
Colette, tell us what a manufacturer's rep means for those of us who don't know.
A manufacturer's rep usually reps a number of different lines of products and can help you with the whole sales and marketing process. And then they will go out to perhaps distributors or maybe detail at pet stores to let people know about your products. They're really a wealth of information, and there's some really great ones out there.
Okay, so I'm an exhibitor, and I'm waiting, or I may have appointments with potential buyers, and I'm waiting for them to come, and they would place orders with me directly. But they may not come to my booth because I don't know them and they don't know me. So you will get approached by these manufacturers' reps which rep several different product lines, or maybe just one. And what they do is they'll take your product, and when they're at one of the major retailers or a mom and pop a pet store, they will present your product as well as other products, and they will earn a commission when they sell your product.
That's pretty much it, yeah, in a nutshell.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Colette, our show is live, so I do have some of the regulars that know the email address to email me questions to you directly. So those of you who aren't regulars and would like to ask Colette a question while we're live on the show, you can email me, Brian, Brian, at gotinvention.com. Now, because this person who's emailing is a regular, it's something that I've brought up on several different shows, and I'd like to ask your opinion, Colette, on behalf of the listener. There are inventors with one product, and they kind of get discouraged to go to a trade show exhibit with one product. in your experience, do buyers or manufacturers reps, do